Hi, this is JP LaForest from Studio JPIC. In this video, I will be talking about the checklist that I use for my professional photography. I will show it on screen in a little bit, but I'll talk a bit of the history. The first time I heard about the importance of a checklist was from Gary Fong's channel, and I recommend that you watch his video also. He shares a really great checklist. And basically, the checklist helps you make sure that you do everything correctly. And it also helps you to cover your butt if something goes wrong. So, hopefully when you go out to shoot, everything is fine. Your pictures come out great. And when you come back, your memory cards are good and your backups are all safe and things like that. But if something happens with some really terrible disaster, at least you have something to cover yourself and say, I'm not just an amateur that doesn't know what I'm doing. I really did everything that I could do, but, unfortunately there was a malfunction and there was nothing that could be done. So it helps you with that sense. And it also helps you by reminding you everything you need to do to prepare, so that when you get to the shoot, you have everything you need in your bag. All the batteries you need are charged, all the memory cards are formatted, and everything is good to go from the moment you enter the customer's premises. So the first part on the top is the customer information. Because when you're out in the road, sometimes it happens. I had a customer where I went to meet them and business was closed when I got there. So I took out my sheet. I had the customer's phone number. I called them up and they said, okay, I'll be there in 2 minutes. And, they met me at the store and I proceeded to take the pictures. So it's good to have the date and time of the appointment, the business name, the type of venue, the contact name, phone number, address, and even the email address, because as a worst case situation, you can take an iPhone or Android device and shoot an email to the owner. So, and it's, all good to have that contact information with you. And then there's the pre-production checklist part. These are things that I do maybe the day before the shoot or maybe 2 days before the shoot, depending on what. And then finally, there's the post-production checklist. That's what I do when I come back home. That's the saving the files, backing them up, and things like that. So in this case, I was bringing my T2i. So, I put in the camera body, my T2i. I had it set up into AV mode at f5.6, ISO at 800, flash compensation at -2, auto white balance, picture style landscape, auto lightning optimizer off, AF mode, AI servo, quality raw and large. I really love shooting both raw images and JPEGs because the JPEGs are ready to go. They're ready to show to the customer. But if there's something, for example, the background, the window is too bright and you can't see anything, you can recover those highlights or shadows in the raw images. So it's really great to have both. And finally, the drive mode, single shooting, because I find with my particular setup with the T2i and the lenses I have, if I go click, 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 I find that the first image is really sharp, and then the images that follow, it seems that the image stabilization sometimes gets in the way. So I prefer to use just a single shooting, especially if I know that I'll have some time between the images. So then the batteries, I recharge my main battery, second battery, and every time I do something, I put my initial in the box. So I know that this part has been done. Then I format my 64 gig main card and then a 16 gig backup card that I bring with me. My lenses, I was bringing my 3 lenses. I made sure that I cleaned everything before. My lens strap, I had my carry speed attached and the tripod mount attached to the carry speed. So I was ready. As soon as I got there, I put the tripod on the floor, put the camera in, and I was ready to shoot. The idea when you're doing, especially commercial photography, time is money, especially for the customer. So if you have a manager or business owner, they don't want to look at you set up your equipment for 15 minutes and figure that they're just wasting their time. So as soon as you get there, if you're ready to go, that gives a really good impression. Then I had my iPhone with me with the battery charge and at least 2 gigs free. That gave me a bit of a backup for if I wanted to take some video or some B-roll footage while the Canon was running. I ended up not using it, but I'd rather have it with me. The same thing, I had my Canon S90 camera with the battery charged and made sure that the memory card had at least 2 gigabytes free. The video light, I did not use it, but I did bring it with the battery charged. My flash, I did use with the batteries charged and the spare batteries charged, because you never know when you're going to run out of batteries. And I did bring my Zoom H4n with the batteries charged and spare batteries. I also did not use the H4n because the customer only needed some pictures. But I figured I would bring the video stuff with me. I just kept it in the bag, and just in case we needed to take some videos, I was ready. So finally, when I come back home, I go through the post-production checklist. I saved all my files to the M drive, and then I backed up the images to the L drive, and then I uploaded the images to an FTP server. So I had 2 backups locally, plus I had a backup on an FTP server in case that something happens to the files. So again, we don't wish that upon anybody, but if the apartment burned down, well, at least I had the files on an FTP server, and the photo shoot was saved that way. So thankfully nothing happened, and I only needed the original files that I saved on the M drive. And as long as I'm still working on the files and I don't have the final customer's approval on them, and everything is printed out and off of my hands, I try to keep the images on the memory card as much as possible. So again, if something happens, one of your files is corrupted and your backup is corrupted, you can still go back to your memory card and save your files that way. I've had the memory card that went badly once, and I was able to restore it with some software. So I know that on a memory card, the files are pretty safe, even in worst case situations. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So like I said, the checklist, it helps you be ready. It helps you be there on time with everything you need and everything set up correctly. Again, why do I set up, for example, on AV mode, and why did I set it up at 5.6 with the ISO at 800 and things like that? Well, I was using my 18 to 55 millimeter lens, and 5.6 is the widest aperture that I can use throughout the whole zoom range. So that way I was ready to shoot as soon as I got out of the car, because you never know what happens. If you're doing a wedding, for example, you get there, you get out of the car, and you see a perfect pose, grab the camera, click, you're good to go. But if you did not put all your settings in before, then you get there, you get stressed, you forget to set something in your camera, and either the pictures don't come out as great as they could have, or you take maybe 2 minutes to set up the camera, and then the opportunity and the moment are over. So it's all about being ready and having all the gear that you need and making sure that everything is set up correctly and ready to go. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, please click like, subscribe, and share with a friend. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them in the box below. Have a great day.